We have definitely seen a bunch of ROG monitors, though it has usually been on the pricier side, but not the one we are going to talk about today though. This is the ROG Strix XG27ACS Gaming monitor, and I've been using it for a good few months to see if it lives up to my expectations. So let's not waste any time and get right into this ROG Strix XG27ACS review. And you're watching The Adventures of Vesper. Let's begin. Now let's start off with the design and build because the ROG Strix XG27ACS has a simple and straightforward design that might either make you happy or a little bummed out. The reason why I say that is, while sure it's an ROG monitor, the accents and the design on the monitor touts is more minimalistic than as epic as any other ROG monitors we have seen so far. But that said, at the budget that you're looking at, it's safe to say that it does look pretty okay. In fact, it somewhat matches the likes of the Tough Gaming monitor which we have reviewed in the past. The stand on this monitor is extremely versatile for you to use however you want. You can tilt, you can rotate to vertical orientation and pan, and honestly, you might not even get a VESA mount arm to use it even. Although for those who wants to do exactly that, you can actually get a VESA mount to do it too. But you lose one of those really nice features this stand has, the slit on the front that holds a smartphone. Personally, I feel like this is a pretty cool feature, as you can place your phone smack right at the base when you're gaming and you won't miss the call from your mom, because the last thing you want your mom is to take the role of Doomslayer and rip and tear you, right? Now let's talk about the specification, and in terms of specification, there's nothing much to rave about the ROG Strix XG27ACS, but it does have what most consumers would require or would need. Now you have a 27-inch 1440p fast IPS display with 180 Hz refresh rate and 1 millisecond response time. It's G-Sync and FreeSync compatible with eLMB sync. It has display HDR 400 with DCI-P3 of 97%, and if you want the score on sRGB, then that's 133%. And as for ports, you have a Type-C port with DP out mode with PD, DisplayPort 1.4 and HDMI 2.0. Now let's talk about the performance and the experience, and I'm going to start off with the experience because, for starters, you won't have much to complain or find fault, as it is a complete monitor with solid experience for you to offer. This monitor comes in black and white. We got the black version, which in my opinion is a better color for display, as the design and body may not distract you and break that illusion between you and the game or whatever content that you choose to consume through the display. The bezels are super thin, making this display, giving it close to that edge-to-edge experience. And if you do have a smaller desk setup, this monitor does not take too much of your space, which is a good thing. And in my case, I do have ample of desk space, and it fits just right where my ProArt monitor was. Now let's talk about the buttons and controls on this monitor. Now I am not a fan of just having 5 to 6 individual buttons, and I get this clunky experience, especially when I can't see these buttons. But what ROG have done is include individual buttons for quick shortcuts and joystick button to navigate around easily. I appreciate this and it works quite well, but for those who do not want to fiddle around behind the monitor, you can download the Display Widget Center, which gives complete control on Windows. And personally, I prefer controlling the monitor settings on board than use the app, though at times it does give the ability to control the brightness through shortcut, making life easier under the KB hotkey settings. The app works as good as it should, but to make it more effective, utilizing the USB-C connection is much better for both display and to do the whole control. Now for the display. This 27-inch 2K 180Hz 1 millisecond display is more in tune with gaming than in tune with editing. And honestly, if you want the latter, you can pick up the Asus ProArt, which I am personally using. And that said, since this monitor is more in line with display HDR 400, it hits the bare minimum in minimum peak luminance, color, and the black because it isn't true black, but you can see a little bit of white shade to it, because just like any other IPS display, it performs how it should. In our case, we connected the monitor to our PC that's running on an NVIDIA GeForce RTX 2070 Super, which makes this monitor GC compatible, and even with our 3080 laptop, it was still working completely fine. For the most part, we barely had any issues with it, and I'm glad it's a 2K display in a 27-inch form, as the pixel ratio is much more higher and you have a better experience. Ripping and tearing through Doom Eternal, playing Ghostwire Tokyo and Back 4 Dead was pretty fun, as it could handle things very well, even over USB-C Alt DP connection. There are some features like Shadow Boost, which shows what's going on in dark spaces in certain areas where it doesn't have a lot of brightness in games. And to me, while it works, it loses the immersion in games, but you can actually turn it off if you want to. And with ELMB sync, tearing and stuttering shouldn't happen, and I'm happy to report that it didn't. Using the monitor in HDR mode wasn't really pleasant, as DCI-P3 scores are slightly lower, and the display has a slight warm bias, which made the experience a little lackluster. And to be honest, this is not the monitor's fault, because Windows need to get the whole HDR thing working better or not implement it at all. Brightness with HDR hits about 400 CD per meter square, whereas non-HDR hits about 300 CD per meter square. It's good enough for what it is, and you're not going to be using under bright sunlight, so which means the monitor is going to be pretty fantastic to look at. Any drawbacks though? Well, personally, I have two. One is a huge one, and the other one, well, you could say I'm actually nitpicking, coming from a Pro Art monitor. The biggest one is the USB Type-C port. Now, yes, it supports USB Type-C DP Alt, which makes life easier for users who are on MacBook, who wants to quickly connect and use their monitor, Samsung devices to use their DeX, or any of those devices that gives that type of feature, or even the ROG Ally, for instance. But you won't be able to use the power delivery aspect of it, because ROG capped it to charge only at 7.5 watt, making it almost redundant for most devices except for devices like iPads and phones. Honestly, this is a huge bummer, because I was hoping that it would hit at least 30 to 60 watt, and if that brings the monitor cost a little bit higher, personally I would take it, because let's be honest, if the monitor that I personally use, which is the Pro Art Display PA278CV, that comes with 65 watt PD, and I actually purchased it for I think about less than 1,700. I don't think there should be any excuse here, right? I don't mind paying the slight premium for a much better USB-C PD, which also makes this monitor not really a great option for those who wants to connect their ROG Ally X and use it on a big screen and want the monitor to charge at the same time, unless you want to connect to other port with a charger, which gives you this clunky setup, but it definitely works, and this applies for every other devices. Second one, while it isn't a huge deal breaker, but having a USB-C uplink to give access to extra USB-A ports on the monitor would have been a nice inclusion. Again, gamers won't need one, but having ports proximal to the user would also help with a much cleaner setup and lower latency for their receivers if they use wireless peripherals. Now, we are heading to the conclusion, and at 1,599 ringgit, you're looking at a competitively priced ROG monitor. And if there's one thing that we know, the moment you slap that ROG name and logo on a product, it sells like hotcake. But what I want you to ask is if this is a true ROG product. Now, to be honest, I feel like this is a slightly better version of the Asus TUF Gaming monitor, more specifically the VG27AQ, which is a 2K IPS monitor with 165Hz refresh rate that's going for 1,475 ringgit on Shopee, maybe even lower. The thing that makes this ROG Strix XG27ACS more appealing would be the USB-C. I'm not going to talk about the PD, despite the fact that it has slow output, which could only charge an iPad properly, DP 1.4, 180 Hz, and support for Display Widget Center for easier control from the comfort of your desktop. If any of these features matter and it happens to be more important to you, then sure, get it. But get it when it's on discount, or when you can use like 100 or 200 ringgit voucher on Shopee or Lazada. Personally, I wish ROG did a better PD output with the USB-C to perhaps even support the ROG Ally or ROG Ally X. I mean, what more do you need to just charge and use the Ally X on a much bigger display, right? Sadly, it can't, but despite that, I must say that this monitor isn't that big of a disappointment. So that's all we have to say about this monitor. And feel free to let us know if there's any questions about this product. We will do our very best to be able to answer down in the comment section below. And if you like this video, give us a thumbs up. If you didn't like this video, give us a thumbs down. Tell us why you didn't like it so that we could definitely improve in our next video. And huge thanks to ROG Malaysia for loaning this monitor to be able to do this content. And we will catch you guys in another video. Until then, this is Prithviraj signing off. Take care. I'll see you guys real soon. Bye.